Hello, how are you? Have you ever been on a boat? If you have, you might have noticed that it's quite hard to stand still on a boat. The waves move you one way and then the other way and backwards and forwards a bit. And it's really quite hard to stand still. Even if you haven't done it, give it a try. Pretend you're walking on a boat and the waves are moving you backwards and forwards and see how you get on with it. It's quite hard work. Anyway, today's story happens on a boat. Jesus and his friends were on a boat crossing a lake, a big lake, and it was quite a few miles across. They got into the boat and they started to travel. And I suppose the waves were moving fairly gently, one side to the other side, and it was quite calm. In fact, it was a bit like being rocked. And because he'd been working very hard, Jesus lay down in the back of the boat on a pillow and fell fast asleep. They knew he was asleep probably because he was snoring. And that was fine because the rest of them were able to sail the boat. And as they got out towards the middle of the lake, things changed. Instead of the waves going gently this way and that way and this way and that way, the wind got a bit stronger. And the waves got a bit bigger. And the boat started moving a bit more from side to side. And they were finding it hard to control it. They did all they could. They pulled on ropes and they got sails down and they got oars out and they did all the things they could think of. But they were quite scared because they thought, if this boat tips over and we all end up in the lake, we might drown. And we don't want that. So what are we going to do? As they thought hard about what they were going to do next, one of them said, "We really have to waken Jesus up." Now that was a strange thing to think, because Jesus was a carpenter. His job was he made things with wood. He built buildings and tools. He didn't really know much about boats. And yet among his friends there were at least 4 people whose jobs had been that they were fishermen. And they sailed boats all the time. They knew about the water, they knew about sails, they knew about the weather, they knew everything there was to know about boats. And yet they thought they'd waken Jesus up. I don't know what they expected he was going to do, or how they thought he might help. But anyway, they wakened him and said, "Excuse me, Master, do you not care if we drown? Waken up and help us." And Jesus said, "Is your faith really that small?" And he stood up in the boat, still a bit stormy and a bit windy, moving from side to side, and he came right up to the front of the boat. And then he did a strange thing. He said to the wind and the waves, "Be quiet, calm down, peace." And a strange thing happened. The wind dropped a bit, and the waves got a bit lower, and soon the boat was sailing in calm waters again. And all of his friends were amazed, and they said to each other, "What kind of person is this? When he talks, even the wind and the waves seem to listen." Do you know what it feels like when you've got a problem and you ask somebody to help? Maybe somebody in your family. And quite often you don't know how they'll help or what they'll do. You just think, I know they care about me and I know they've got lots of good ideas. And that's who I want to be with me when these things are a bit hard, or when I'm struggling with something or I'm having a hard time. And I think that's what the story's about. I think it's people finding out that when things are difficult, it's a bit like things are a bit stormy, they want somebody to help, and the somebody they want to help, the somebody they want to be on their side is Jesus. And that's what I think the story's about. What do you think?